you see it, it's probably some reflection of you. You know, what you see in other people always has some mirror of yourself.
We could often be just one conversation away from a wonderful new financial opportunity if we know how to really get inside of the heart of the person we're across from and see how they could most be helped.
Why not maximize your potential?
Amen.
You can build your whole life around making more money, or how much more money can you make, but what's important? Wealth without meaning is not something that you should necessarily aspire to.
So we're going to start dice session number 7.
Okay.
And thank you for being here. I'm extremely excited to talk to you because you have such a breadth of expertise in a very specific domain, which is very different than most of the people in Austin. Coaches. Coaching coaches.
Yes.
To set context, we'll talk for a couple hours tops, and we're going to explore kind of your work, your life, and see if there's anywhere that we can't find some dream product that you'll be able to create with your own mind through the process I guide you through, that you're like, oh my God, I love this product so much. I would love to pay for it. But it's only if you love it and only if you're really excited about it. So that's kind of the aim of it. Does that sound okay so far?
Sure. I'm here to talk.
Yeah. Okay. And what I've been finding with these sessions is people usually leave feeling like really seen and understood. Well, I did David Gonzalez just yesterday.
Did you?
And he said he was feeling guilty that he didn't pay for the session. And I was like, oh, well, that's cool. I wasn't anticipating like that would happen.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I wanted to start by saying that the real underlying intention of the whole session is really to be of service to you, and not to try and be impressive to you, but really to be of service to you. A very, very, very heart-centered, love-based approach to. My thoughts are that we could often be just one conversation away from a wonderful new financial opportunity if we know how to really get inside of the heart of the person we're across from and see how they could most be helped.
Well, thank you.
So let's start with a few questions we'll dive into. First is, what's most difficult right now? And what are also just in general some of the things you're working on?
We'll start with most difficult.
Okay.
Most difficult, what in my mind's eye is, I have a lot of things on my plate, and I've bitten off a lot of things. And so many times you get talking to people, you commit to doing your side of the action, and sometimes the people you're working with get a little off track. It can be a source of that frustration. You know, why are we going off track? You know, we had a great idea. Well, let's execute on the great idea if we can.
Just make sure.
So yeah, but I've been talking to some people recently, and they'll say, well, we can do this. And I'm like, okay, give me the specifics. And then the specifics don't come. Or the specifics come in as generalities. So, you know, things like that, or where I'd say frustrations. Now, you had a 2-part question.
Ideas that never see the light of day.
Yeah, they see conversation and don't get to implementation.
Okay, ideas that are just conversations.
I guess you could put it that way.
Does that capture it?
Fairly well, yeah.
Oh, how would it capture it really well?
They're ideas that have a conversation, they have a market, they have potential. And then I believe that for whatever reasons, whether it's sales avoidance or sales reluctance or something, there's a lack of completion.
I can feel the pain.
Yeah. It's there.
Thank you for being so honest so quickly. It usually takes people a while to get right to the heart of it. The thing that really stuck out to me was that you can really see the potential up there for the tasting. Like the cake's right there, but your tongue can't reach it kind of a thing. Is that, yeah?
Pretty much smell it.
You said something about sales avoidance. Is this with your team that's not executing it, or people or vendors you're hiring?
I think I'm clear. I'm sure that I'm part of it, because there's got to, you know, it's like they always saying, you know, if you see it, you know, it's probably some reflection of you. You know, what you see in other people always has some mirror of yourself. So I'm sure there's an element of that with myself. I think that people get excited about things, but then when it comes time to just say, okay, well, it's time to implement that.
Let's be specific. Give me like the last couple examples, like what's the most recent acute example of this?
So I have a person I've been friends with and done some business with for quite a long time. And he came back from a trip to St. Louis with a great idea that would implement alongside a bunch of things we're already doing. It was in the health insurance space. And so I brought it to my associates, and then they'd get us on the phone with the people, and we keep asking for very specific things, and they keep giving us broad information. And so we can't even start without the specifics. So it's been a frustration. It's a wheel spinning. So I'm sure everybody means well. And, there's people say, oh yeah, we're real interested. We want to, it's going to help. It's going to help our business clients. It's going to help our hospital systems. It's going to help this. And then the lack of communication. And I feel like, I'm stuck in the middle. Like, party A calls me, hey, did he send you that stuff? No. Can you get me the stuff? Well, you have his email. Can you ask him directly? But, and you back and forth, I introduce somebody and then he introduces that person to his other guy. The other guy's like, well, I just need this. And the data doesn't flow. So, I guess it's a little bit vague, but I think it's just a lack of getting questions answered timely and quickly because everything is always moving. And if you don't execute.
Let me ask you, are you open to talking more about it or would you like to keep it kind of vague?
We can always ask more questions.
What kind of a biz op are we talking about here?
It's quite a while. It's income tax, it's estate tax, it's generational wealth coaching stuff. Counseling is not coaching.
And you're very good at it.
I am very good at it, yes. I've got a very long
I'm a client.
experience.
I recommend Kevin.
Okay. So as part of some of the things I do, I got involved in the Mississippi State Medical Association quite a long time ago through one of my clients. Been a client of mine for 16 years.
Were you doing tax for them?
I do tax work for him. Yes.
Congratulations.
And I have a relationship with the entire association. We do webinars to the members. We speak at their conferences. Through this relationship, I got introduced to esoteric concept, but it's actually real meaningful to me. This is not so much about the revenue, but more about the impact. So we got involved in the fact that in the state of Mississippi, and it's actually pretty widespread nationally, that people who live in rural areas are seeing their healthcare systems fail. Hospitals are closing and they're in deep financial trouble. So we started exploring different ideas, and I came across an idea that would allow the rural healthcare systems, and one of the reasons they're bleeding money is because they don't have a doctor always. They have a doctor, but maybe he's only there for 8 hours in a day. He can't be there 24 hours a day, so they don't admit critical care and trauma patients. Well, when you do that, the way the billing systems work, you may do $5,000 for the triage, and the client gets in an ambulance and goes to the regional medical center, and your system may get reimbursed $500, $600, $700. And you don't get the rest of the goodies that come with admitting the patient, all the day rates, all the other things that help cover the overhead. You've got the beds, you got the cost of having the facility, but you don't have patients in the beds. So we introduced to a group that will help with telemedicine for acute and ER care. And so now you can admit the patient unless a level 1 trauma where they have to be put on the helicopter to the trauma center. But everybody else, you can have the doctor treat them, admit them, and the nurse practitioner can work with the ER telemed people and get them cared for. So that led into one of my friends who's been working with the Indian tribes for a very long time, saying, every tribal medical center is virtually a rural healthcare system, and therefore they suffer from the same problems.
And what do you mean by rural healthcare system?
A rural healthcare system is a long ways from a major city. It is definitely not a short drive, in the state of Mississippi.
One nurse, one doctor?
No, they have full hospitals.
Okay.
But it's not near the infrastructure. So like in a state like Mississippi, and I imagine West Texas is similar to this, or, Southeast Texas. But in a state like Mississippi, there's vast regions, like what they call the Mississippi Delta, where there's multiple cities. There's a Greenville, Greenwood, all these cities, Indianola, kind of the Blues Trail, where B.B. King and all those people are from.
Okay.
But their healthcare systems, they built hospitals at one time, but because of the medical system has changed, they can't afford to have the infrastructure. So everybody that has critical conditions gets shipped to Jackson or Tupelo or somewhere, or Memphis, and the regional hospitals are there for certain things, but they're bleeding money. And because they're bleeding money, they're not able to provide the service. So we learned about that.
And they're bleeding money because 90% of it's going to the regional hospital paid by from insurance?
The people get sent to the regional hospitals for virtually all profitable care.
Wow.
So
that's heartbreaking in a way.
Yeah, it's the exact same thing that so the Indian tribes, the same thing.
So let me make sure I understand.
Yeah.
Let's say Susie breaks her leg and she's out on a farm and she goes to the rural hospital And then for some reason, she has to go to the regional. The rural hospital does like a lot of the work, gets paid for 90% of it. And she goes to the regional hospital, and the regional hospital gets all the profitable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially because, like,
how is it
say it was a
sustaining?
car accident.
How is it sustaining itself?
Right now, the state legislatures are writing checks to those hospital systems to keep them open. We will make profit, creating benefits to these systems at a major level. So that was the reason one of my friends goes to a conference in St. Louis, bumps into a Blue Cross Blue Shield Nebraska policy that was developed in Nebraska that has some caps, maybe $1 million, $2 million a year, but it's a heck of a lot better than not being able to afford health insurance. And so we've been trying to bring that for both the hospital systems, the tribal stuff, and the other things we're working on. And again, this is my sort of a side job, but it's something that I care about a lot.
So your friend came to you and gave you what kind of opportunity?
He came in with a product that would help with the different things we're doing to help them reduce costs. The whole concept here is create more revenue to the tribal hospital systems and to the rural hospital systems, and to cut expenses. So everything we can find that's going to be one of those combinations will be part of the product suite we're trying to introduce. My associate, who's been in the medical side, he's finally reached a point where he wants to just put most of his focus to this kind of thing. He's on a few MA committees still, but he wants to go back to solving this problem. He's reached retirement, and so it's that time.
Can you briefly explain how you're able to add value to a rural hospital and collect a profit in the process?
The two things that I originally outlined, one is that telemedicine for the ER. Nobody was, we bumped into a group that was doing it. We met it through one of my friends. We met this guy, and he used to own a bunch of hospital systems, and he sold them. He's kept a board position at Mount Sinai and Cedars-Sinai, sort of bi-coastal on the the major health systems. But he and a few friends of his, one created the major telemedicine for HCA, which was a big Nashville-based hospital corporation in America. They created a company, and we've brought it in as a partial solution. So,
and then you get a little rev share?
Yeah, we get a little something out of it, yes.
Another question for you. You said, so 3.5 months, you said you've been pushing for specifics. Who have you been pushing for specifics, and what have they not been able to give you?
They're bringing a product from Nebraska. And the product, I guess, my understanding of this was one of the things that Google was part of the partnership that tried to create this, that right after ACA was first implemented, a bunch of people in the corporate world wanted to see if they could enhance what was happening.
What's HCA?
ACA.
What's ACA?
Affordable Care Act.
Okay.
And that was what people call Obamacare, but I mean, the bill was called the Affordable Care Act.
Okay.
Why
do you laugh?
No, it hasn't been very affordable.
Okay. So you've been pushing the Blue Cross Blue Shield people for some specifics. What specifics have you needed, and what have they not been giving? That's where the pain is, right?
Yeah, that's where the pain is. We need to have this go to, we're not going to be the insurance guys per se. We got a bunch of people who do the insurance. We want to be able to explain to them exactly the implementation process and exactly the compensation package. Well, we haven't gotten the details on either side of that. So we can't get any of the people that we need to work with us on this. I can't go to the Mississippi Delta and go into the hospital system who's about to cancel their insurance. I can't just run in there with some out-of-state Blue Cross plan. I need to get the local agent to say, oh yeah, I can keep this account, but tell me how much you're going to pay me. Tell me the specifics. How's this going to work? Do I use my current TPA?
What's TPA?
A third-party administrator.
What's that?
It's the person who manages the billing and the processing of claims.
Okay, so you're asking if you need to use your TPA or they'll use theirs?
Yeah, things like that. We're just trying to get into the real nitty-gritty details. And how do we deal with people that don't qualify? Because this is actually an underwritten health insurance, meaning you have to qualify for it. Now, in a group of 100 people, probably 97 will qualify. The 3 that don't will have to go to...
So who's the TPA? Another specific is...
What are we going to pay the agents?
And another specific was, what about insurable?
People who are unhealthy. Well, we would never turn them away. That would be violation. What we're trying to understand is exactly how we integrate that in the plan. Details we haven't gotten yet.
So you're asking questions like, what TPA do we use? How do we pay agents? What about uninsurable people?
They're sending us stuff,
What are they saying back?
A lot of it has been things like, well, most of that stuff will be handled with the supplemental insurances. And I'm like, it's not the answer.
Why isn't it the answer?
Because we still need the core, major medical.
What's that mean, the core major medical?
Major medical is if you have a health insurance policy through your job, you have a card from whoever your core major medical is. If you work for a really large company, you probably have a card from whoever their self-insurance group's administrator is. But the concept is you have a base insurance. When you walk into the doctor's office and they say insurance place, I've got a hospitalization policy and I got a critical illness policy and a this policy. That helps fill the gaps, but it doesn't address the base. So, again, health insurance is not even remotely my forte. It's just as part of what I am is a general knowledge of all things financial. I do understand how it works.
What called you to the opportunity?
One more opportunity to make things better for the clients that we're trying to help there.
Random question.
Yeah.
Could all this difficulty be like the universe saying, focus on where you're best?
I guess.
I don't want to plant a terrible seed, because what if you go on to save tens of thousands of people and help rural hospitals?
Yeah. Well, that's what I think too.
Yeah.
I think we can help a lot.
In your intuition, do you think that the resistance is a sign from some higher loving organizing force that's saying, hey, focus where you're best? Or do you think the resistance is just the proper tuition someone pays going into a new endeavor?
I'm open to both. As I've said repeatedly to my person who I would call the person who brought the product, I said, I would love to work with you if it's doable and it isn't a distraction to our core mission, which is not purely charitable. It is something that is a heartfelt thing more than a financially driven thing.
But it gets to be both.
I prefer to be both. And, it's when people ask me, well, what I want to do the most, a couple things come to mind. And of course, the one that comes the most is the thing that I've enjoyed the most through my career is when I'm working with clients who want me to help them with their taxes and their family and their business structuring, but also want to help charities. That part is fun. And it's even more fun when a charity retains us to work with their clients, because then you got a feeding pool of people who you can save taxes, leave the money to their children still, give more to the charity, and maybe just a little less to a 3-letter agency that most people aren't all that excited about giving money to.
So just to kind of wrap this concept up, and we'll explore more, when you have this TPA issue and how you're going to pay agents and the uninsurable, what would your dream come true be in this TPA situation? If you could have any dream you wanted, what would you have there?
I would like them to just make this super concise for us. We decide, yep, this is something we're willing to put some effort into, or nope, I don't like the way you've given me the information, or I feel there's a hole in this and we're just not going to put any more effort to it, and we will just stay within what we were doing.
Great. So a concise decision.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a big fan of yes or no.
Okay.
Maybe suck.
What?
Maybe suck.
Maybe suck. Yeah. Okay.
The word maybe.
Yeah.
Horrible answer, because there's no closure. Yeses are closure with a happiness. No's are closure with a little bit of unhappiness, but you just go to the next prospect.
Mm-hmm.
You're sitting on a China egg, and China eggs don't hatch. And it's not a good use of your time.
It would be your dream come true for the pay agents specific.
The dream would be that they'll be able to show us a compensation structure similar to what they're already getting from their group BCBS contract, but it'll allow the hospital system to save money, and whether the Indian tribes or whoever else we'd be bringing this to. We wouldn't have friction with the agents and brokers, and we would have positive results for the outcome of what we're trying to do, which is to make things better for the rural healthcare systems.
What would be your dream come true for this uninsurable situation?
Every major corporation you could think of has what's called self-insurance, which means they set aside money each year based on how much health expenses they think there's going to be. They buy some reinsurance for somebody that has a car accident that costs them $5 million or something. So there's a stop loss at $500,000 per person. In this situation where we're using individual policies, we would just want to know that we could get them under the self-insured. We'd use a self-insured declaration, but we'd be buying these Blue Cross policies. And for the ones that are insurable, we'd buy them, what people call from the healthcare exchange. The exchange that tells you every year, hey, by the way, do you want a government policy? You can have one right now. And that would be the perfect solution at the end of the day.
Amazing. So for TPA, you'd have a concise decision, be able to show the compensation. For the uninsurable, you'd have it easily handled with the docs. In essence, that's what we're kind of doing with the process today, is just exploring things that are either acutely painful or difficult, figuring out what specific moments are making that difficult, and then just figuring out what the dream come true would be in each moment. So we have actually done that. We've done kind of one practice. Actually, really interesting to learn about this world I have no idea about.
Yeah. Not many people know this issue exists.
Yeah. But I'm happier knowing it. I'm happier knowing that rural hospitals are struggling. How has this been for you so far, kind of getting to go through this kind of map of a conversation before we continue?
It's interesting. I'm going to observe and answer all your questions, and we'll see what kind of outcomes we come to.
Yeah.
Or we just share great information with each other.
Anything else come to mind about anything else kind of difficult going on right now?
Yeah, there's lots of things.
Why don't you just give me like a list of 6?
Okay. First one be the whole idea of trying to put AI into my business.
Okay.
I've been to, so far, 4 events. My significant other, Katerina, has been working, and she's put a lot more effort in than I have and has listened to most of the weekly calls. So I want to get myself fully involved, and I have not been nearly.
Okay, so putting AI in the biz, what was another one? Give me 5 more.
I think several of them I want to use AI as part of it. I had relationships with charities. I want to rebuild that.
I don't think like this at all. Catch me up. What are you saying?
They have an endowment division. You walk in and they show you all the different tools and tricks they have to help you. You can give them money and they'll give you an income stream with a gift annuity, bigger gifting. I've done this for quite a few different, and then when they rotate out, that charity disappears sometimes from your radar. So there was about 15 years ago, I'd had a period, a couple of years where I was doing all the consulting to Jackson State University's endowment. And it was amazing how easy it was to get bigger donations than what the people in the endowment department or in their charity side, because they were just like, write a check. And, simple example, like they had a doctor, ran the marching band. He wanted to name a room in the music building for himself. And they wanted a $50,000 donation. So the guys are like, oh, well, you can give us, your life insurance policy. You can give us your, some of your real estate. You can write a check, or you can give us some of this. And it's like, we look at his situation. He wasn't extremely liquid. He had a good pension. He had some IRAs. I was like, he could give you guys some money from his IRA. That's money he was going to pay taxes on later. So if he gives you $50,000 from there, it really only costs him $30,000. Instead of him giving you the 50 and explaining it to the client and the kids were like, that's a lot better, And, the donation happened. The room got named. That type of thing doesn't happen unless somebody looks at it from the perspective of understanding the taxes and the family. And for the charity, that's a big boom because the client was wanting to do it, but couldn't find a comfortable way to do it. So the charity gets a check. So that's a space that I really enjoy working in. I wouldn't be self-employed doing what I do if I didn't like what I do. But there's things that give you more pleasure than others.
So when I was talking about giving me 6 things, I asked about the second thing, and you mentioned, first was putting AI into the biz, and then the second one was, what was the second one? Because you went off, you kind of got to share your
the idea of growing the part of my business where I'm consulting either to individual clients or to charities collectively to use my expertise in that space to create more money for purposes and to, at the same time, enhance the client's overall plan.
Yeah, growing consulting within the charity models.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Does that sound right?
Yep. I really enjoy working with business owners who've really had their success, who now want to coach their children and grandchildren to not just get their money, but to get their values and their money. Because their values are what made the money. Their principles, their work ethics.
You want to help business owners coach their kids?
I do. On how to take over the mantle as a way of continuing what part of the patriarch or matriarch's values are relevant to being passed to the children instead of just money.
How about number 4? Is there anything more that you'd like to do?
Are we talking family, spiritual, and physical goals? Or
Sure.
Okay.
This is your session, your dreams, man.
Yeah.
Give me 3.
One big goal is we're working towards leaving Dallas in the next 2 years and deciding where the goal is to be. Austin's real high on the list right now.
I hope that happens. Leave Dallas. Let's just keep it at that. How about number 5?
Yep. I want to travel less for business and more for pleasure.
4 is a couple of places you go for pleasure.
A lot is just going back to the same places over and over. Colorado, Florida, But certainly there's places we haven't done.
Would you go see like the Disneyland castle in Germany that they modeled the castle after? Or would you go on an Alaskan cruise? Would you go to the Grand Canyon?
Alaska cruise and Norway cruises are on my list. Machu Picchu's high on the list. I've done most of Western Europe a lot, but I haven't done much of Eastern Europe. So I want to do the Prague, Budapest, Warsaw.
That's amazing.
So I've spent so much time in like places like Italy, but just haven't made that part of it. So that would be really exciting.
Is there a reason your face doesn't look excited when you say it would be really exciting?
My emotions are largely less expressive than a lot of people.
Do you still feel them?
Oh yeah, deeply.
Deeply. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for letting me know that.
So
you seem like a deeply feeling person.
I
would never want to play poker with you.
I try to keep that stuff down. I get opening Christmas gifts. It's hard to feel like I'm being phony when I get all bubbly, feel happy. I feel grateful. Thinking about travel, I mean, it's always exciting. And I love going places.
Maybe I would describe you as viciously intelligent and emotionally elusive to track.
That would probably be accurate. I wish people could see my emotions more. And I don't think I'm trying to hide them, but apparently I do.
This has been one of my most enjoyable dice sessions. And it's because I think I feel your brain. And I'm not usually feeling people's brains. You make your brain really available to be felt. And it's really nice.
Well, thank you.
It's pretty cool. How about number 6? Something else you want to do? What's that one you just thought of?
It was goes back way over 30 years. I had like being asked, what would you want to do once you have everything you want and you've done all your travel? And I had this idea. Of course, today's world has kind of morphed that. Now, today, obviously, in this world of all these biohacking and all this other stuff, there's every type of spy you can think of on this planet out there now. So I don't know if I just want to visit those things now, or I would actually want to try and do something in that space. I still feel like the integration's still fully not there. It seems like everybody's still in some camp there, and I would just like it to just be much more rounded, You want
to explore the healthcare world. Or not healthcare, but you want to explore the world of health.
Yeah.
Explore the health world. Okay. Let's look at these 6 areas. And on a scale of 1 to 10, I want you to rate them in terms of which one you would actually want the most help with. So putting AI into your business on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being you want help the most, 1 you don't want it at all, how much would you like help in that?
That's probably the one I need the most help on.
What number would you give it?
Yeah, probably 9-ish.
9. Okay.
I've been to 4 of Joe's sessions. He's always spot on and focused, but it's one of those areas, it's weird. Most things, I guess it's interest, I am less interested in computers and stuff with computers, and therefore I don't learn it as fast, whereas the stuff I do with a core, but I know it's a big value.
Awesome. How about growing the consulting with charities? Scale of 1 to 10, how much would you like help with that?
Not a lot.
So scale of 1 to 10, how much would you like help in that?
Like a 3 or 4.
Okay. We'll call it a 3. But the help you would consider is working with certain professionals that could help you get in front of the charities.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Then number 3, helping business owners coach their kids to take the mantle, which is super cool. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much would you like help with that?
I don't know if I need a lot of help. Well, I guess I think this is a place where I need to step up to the table, write the content, and then put it in front of the people who are going to bring that to me. So part of my core.
Would you say?
Yes.
What does that mean?
The people that bring me referral business right now, the biggest category is people who are already in the financial world. They're registered investment advisors. They're insurance agents. And all of their clients making $200,000 or have $500,000 or $1 million in their brokerage accounts. I think if they understood more about what we can do for their clients there.
Can I interrupt you?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. So business owners coach kids to take the mantle. How much would you like help on that on a scale of 1 to 10?
Give it a 4, but I feel like most of that is around my implementing the AI. So if I was to explain my content to ChatGPT or Claude or whoever I want to talk to, so that it really gets the message out, so that the advisor can say to the client, hey, read this white paper, or have a call with this person, then read their white paper. I think that's all the help I need to get to increasing that part of my life.
How about leaving Dallas? How much would you like help on that scale of 1 to 10?
I value one person's opinion strongly.
She's in this room?
She might be.
Yeah.
So, beside from that, I mean, it's just a matter of what the process looks like. Moving's never easy. And here, like the idea of moving to Austin, which is a high likelihood, it's the never-ending decision is also being in town is awesome, but is it better to be in the suburbs? Is it better to be in the city? It becomes a real big issue, especially when you think what the traffic's like around here.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much would you like help with that?
2.
2. How about traveling for pleasure? How much would you like help to do that?
We'll go with 0.
0. So if I called you once a week, I was like, hey man, you got any travel for pleasure yet? That wouldn't be valuable for you?
I think it's just a matter of, freeing up the businesses. There is an element of having recurring income, whether you're working or not, which didn't come up in the 6 things, but it is a major part of some of the things.
Well, we can look at that. We just added a 7th.
Yeah, recurring income. It's nice that you have income from real estate investments and things like that.
We'll call it MRR because I'm the SaaS guy.
Yeah. Yeah. We call it mailbox money.
Yeah, mailbox money is even better. What is that? MBM? Mailbox money. MBM.
A lot of the projects we're working on are geared to create things for long-term mailbox money.
How about exploring the health world? How much would you like help on that scale of 1 to 10?
Don't think it's a big concern. My significant other's very connected and involved. My travel schedule is heavy. I mean, I've been here since Wednesday. I'm home for 1 day in Dallas, and I'm flying Monday, get home for 1 day, and then I fly to the West Coast. And health is a very tricky casualty in that space.
What do you mean?
When I stay home, I go to the gym every day. I eat really well. I do all my routines.
How much would you like help exploring the health world?
No, not much. We'll give it a 2.
Oh, 2? Okay, I was going to give it a 0.5.
Yeah, 0.5 sounds good too.
Okay. Establishing recurring revenue. How much would you like help with that? Scale of 1 to 10.
That's an interesting point. And I feel like that's where my association with my partners, I guess I want to help. I feel like there's been a lot of missed execution there in the last year. Not all of it on purpose, or by lack of execution. Some of it by just failed for crazy reasons. I mean, we had a really big recurring revenue thing with a large gastroenterology group, and they were part of a roll-up, and one person on the board of the roll-up blocked the whole darn thing after 8 months of work.
Scale of 1 to 10, how much would you like help?
Well, I think it's going to be about a 5.
So of all these, one we could explore deeper, looks like the obvious one is putting AI into the biz because it's the highest number. But I don't want to discard the growing consulting with charities, business owners, coaching kids to take the mantle. Would it probably happen easier if you got AI in your biz? Does that sound accurate?
It's very accurate.
Okay.
So that's why AI is on the top of the list, and on the, not that life isn't comfortable or fun, but why not maximize your potential?
Amen. We'll go into putting AI in your biz. The process is, I don't think I mentioned the name of it at the beginning, but it's dice. And these dice sessions, we sort of roll the dice, so to speak. It's like, would you like to roll the dice with me, Kevin? And
spin the wheel, roll the dice.
Yeah. And sometimes you roll the dice, it's a 1, sometimes it's a 2, sometimes you get a 6. And you just keep rolling the dice in a sense till you find your 6s, and then you can use those to change your whole financial future. And essentially you could, because you know how to roll the dice repeatedly, you can in a sense control the dice. And that's what I'm hoping to show people is that.
Do we get a Yahtzee sometimes?
Yeah.
Get 5 6s.
Is that what Yahtzee is? Is 5 6s?
It's 5 of any one.
Shoot. Okay, that's amazing. So in terms of putting AI in your biz, so we've done D, which is discover. And we've discovered your world. And I love the rural hospital stuff and finding out the dream come true for what you want for TPA, for paying agents and the uninsurable. We discovered AI in your biz was one of the difficult areas, but then we kind of very quickly shifted to like, what are the things you're wanting to do? Which I think is a beautiful, actually. Like, well, so what are you wanting to do is a very good question. If someone is in a lot of pain and you know it, you could say, talk about your pains.
I deviated from the plan.
That's too many D's, Kevin. That's too many D's.
Too many
bro.
Ds.
Delicious.
Hmm.
I think we can just jump to C, actually, because I want to jump to creation. So we're going to jump to creation here. In terms of creating in your dream, if you're putting your AI in your business, I want to create your dream situation for how this looks. So let's make this as easy as possible to implement your dream. So to do that, I want to ask you my favorite question in all of DICE, which is, what is the least that this would need to do to still accomplish getting AI in your business and still being of great value to you? So what would be the least this would need to do to successfully put AI in your business and still be valuable to you?
Help remove bottlenecks or capacity constraints.
What else?
Consistency of communication.
What do you mean by that?
Because I have no consistent communication. I don't send out emails. I don't have constant contact. I don't do any of that.
How does it feel to say that out loud? Does it feel anything?
When I say it to myself, it's a little embarrassing in some ways. In front of these groups, I feel like I'm a dinosaur. I don't have a current CRM, and I use my email. I had one of the early cool CRMs. I spent a lot of money on Goldmine in the 90s.
How much was Goldmine in the 90s? Is that a CRM?
Yeah, it was a database with customer stuff. I mean,
how much was
the original software wasn't extremely expensive. Probably a couple $1,000, but customizing it to my situation, I had 13 offices at the time, and I've gotten rid of all that overhead. I'm completely the opposite. I'm a complete bumpkin on tech. I would like to change that.
Okay. So you'd remove bottlenecks. You'd improve consistency of communication. What else would be like for version 1, just to get this to you as quickly as possible? What's the least that would need to happen?
I would like to think of it improve marketing. Contact with clients gives you opportunities to tell them more about what you're doing. Do some webinars, break them up month by month. Well, one will be month it'll be on business challenges of medical practice. Another month will be on estate planning. Another month it'll be on income tax ideas. Another month it'll be
who's watching those?
Members of the medical association.
Who's a member of a medical association?
The one we work with, we're
a nurse or a doctor?
Mississippi State Medical Association. 95% of everybody that's a member is a doctor.
Okay. You're giving doctors educational advice
on webinars. Now, we're counting on the medical association to promote it and send emails and stuff. And attendance can be low sometimes. I would prefer to use AI to boost.
Yeah.
I'd like to see.
Yeah, maybe also, working with the marketing verbiage so doctors can't sleep unless they get on that webinar.
That'd be pretty awesome.
Removing bottlenecks, improving consistency of communication, improving marketing. Does that sound like captures everything for version 1, or is there more?
Yeah. I think for just getting out of the gate, that's enough excitement to get going.
Okay.
We're working on the go high level CRM, trying to figure out how to go in and implement that, migrate all my email contacts into a database, and then have consistent contact, and then maybe do some hiring of agency work that will feed additional activity aside from just doing the email.
So we're moving in the direction by getting go high level set up?
We've had the introductory phone call. We're not quite at an implementation.
Okay.
Implying that we're at implementation would be disingenuous.
Okay. So removing bottlenecks, improving consistency of communications, and improving marketing. That'd be enough excitement to get you out of the gate, you said?
Yeah.
What would be your kind of dream for how the removal of bottlenecks would happen?
The AI working and understanding how to use it, you should be able to train something to actually do a lot of your routine tasks, which would take away bottlenecks.
You're going to train AI to remove routine tasks?
That's one thing I would definitely like to get it done. And then for my own communications, I'd like to think that if I've talked to AI enough and it knows my personality, it will help me with writing whatever I need to write and correcting it closer to my style without me putting so much time into it. We've done a lot of that with prompts so far, but we haven't done it with my voice and with my content, prompting it to
training AI with Kevin using content and voice. I would like to figure out what would, in terms of a dollar amount, what would it be worth to you in dollars if you had all of your bottlenecks? If you were removing the bottlenecks you're thinking of removing with AI?
No idea.
How would you go about kind of valuing that?
That's kind of part of why we've been so slow implementing. It's if I was just in a business where I was selling a product per se. And I can say, well, if we do this, that means we're going to have this many more contacts. This many more contacts means this many more sales. I've not been in that space. I've been in pretty much a pure consulting role for quite a while now. And so it makes it more complicated to create metrics. I know it's not impossible to create metrics. I guess I've been a bottleneck. For me, it's much easier to take the next phone call, talk to the next person, reach out to somebody, try and move things forward rather than take the proactive steps on building.
Let me help you out a little bit. So if you were to remove the bottlenecks, it would save you a lot of time.
Yep.
Would you value saving time?
Yes.
What do you have your time per hour right now in your mind?
That's another area where I'm doing myself a lot of disfavors.
What do you mean?
I mean, one of my billings, say 500.
500. Okay.
But, I should consider my time more valuable, obviously.
Yes. It's an ongoing.
Because that puts aside from making sales that have commissions or something, $500 an hour kind of caps you at $1 million a year because $20,000 a week, and that's before expenses. It's not necessarily smart, treatment of yourself. And obviously, we do have some things that do create income pops, but I definitely want to value my time higher.
Great. It should be an ongoing exploration of self-love. Really, how can I really maximize the amount I'm making per hour from a place of active self-care and self-love? So if you have the removing bottlenecks, it's going to save you time. Let's just and you're going to say roughly $500 an hour, but you want it to be more, and it's just kind of a number you're throwing out. One way to get your literal amount per hour is to just divide your hours by your actual profit from 2024, and you'll actually just get the very scary number that doesn't lie.
The first time I did it was when I was building staff. And the exercise then was to find out what is your needed hourly rate, and then anything that you can hire cheaper than that, hire somebody to do.
I see.
So that was where I first started with that exercise.
Okay. In removing bottlenecks.
Still not quite there.
Okay.
Let's go a little deeper on this for a second. I think part of that bottleneck, and it's been in my mind hard and heavy for 17 years now.
What has been?
Is that I have not chose to hire staff. Because I fired all my staff during the financial crisis. And that's a reluctance in me. It's a deep one. You bring somebody into your business, you promise them a career, you tell them a beautiful dream of their future, and 6 years later or 7 years later, you sit in front of them after you've drained your bank account paying salaries with no income, you fire them. And you fire them all. And it's, I shouldn't live in that fear.
Well, the nice part is we're not talking about you hiring any staff. We're talking about AI being a staff, which you could fire tomorrow if you didn't like, with no emotional negative impact.
I still tend to think there's some need for some staff to grow to a certain size.
I think for the sake of this discussion and kind of simplifying it, making it really conceptually possible to wrap our head around, we have 4 pretty big actual areas: removing the bottlenecks, improving consistency of communications, improving the marketing materials, and then training AI Kevin, kind of its own separate function. All together has this beautiful net impact of putting AI in your biz. I think it would be wise to roll these out in 4 phases. So we just do one at a time, so we have the best shot at doing them all well. You know what I mean? Does that sound good?
I think some of that stuff definitely has to happen contemporaneously. I don't think that it can.
What's contemporary in the same meaning?
At the same time.
Oh, you want to do some of this at the same time?
I feel like.
How about improve consistency of comms and improving marketing, and training AI Kevin is all done at the same time?
I think that's quite reasonable.
Yeah. And so these 3 done at the same time, but removing the bottlenecks is its own phase.
Adapting the CRM and getting things. I mean, this is what we talked about a long time ago. At the very least, a database and export of all the data from Gmail to that.
I'm going to add setup CRM to this list of.
And again, it doesn't have to be your full click funnels, all that stuff. But just being able to have a CRM, you can go in and say, okay, these 500 people are investment advisors, CPAs, attorneys. They should get monthly, quarterly communication on what I'm doing that's relative to that profession. these people are clients. They should get client communication and let that part of business happen. It's like, that's something that would make life feel really good. Right now, trying to do mail merges and communication from just a Gmail account is pretty primitive.
When I made the suggestion of doing this in phases, that doesn't seem like it lands too well. You'd like to do them all at once.
And we all know the things you try to do too much at once, you don't do. So I hear what you're saying.
Well, I'm also trying to listen to you because, if you want to do all these, remove bottlenecks, improve consistency of communication, set up CRM, improve marketing, train AI, Kevin, this is your dream. We can get them all done.
Sure.
But doing them all at the same time, we might want to just be a little thoughtful about. But would you like to do all 5 at the same time?
In a dream world, yeah, sure. He's like, whoa, yeah, let's just do all this.
Right,
there may be stress that comes from that personally and with business associates and family members. It are not things you want to do. I've been going to these. I went to my first AI training. God, it was last summer, I think, in Hawaii, and I've been not implementing, and that's not feeling good right now. So I definitely want to implement as much as I can at once. And then I look, I'm driving home tonight, flying out Monday morning, coming home Wednesday night, flying out Friday morning. You question what does it take? How much do you have to shut your business down to make your business?
So can we explore this a little bit more?
Yeah.
Okay. So in terms of, I'm going to throw out a question. If you had all 5 of these and this thing is waived and all 5 of these are just done exactly to your liking, what price would be so high that it's just out of reach? What price would be so low where you're like, I don't think that's going to be a good job? And what price would be right in the sweet spot where you're like, I take this serious. This is where I value it at. I'd cut a check for that if that was all done. Does the question make you nervous?
No, it makes me,
because it's too vague. You don't know how to conceptualize it.
I feel like my sense of when it comes to pricing on things, almost always, is that I don't know enough to broadly gain it. I love things like when a car is simple. It's like, okay, that car, yeah, that's worth $30,000. That's worth $70,000. Okay, I can get it. I see the quality, know what it costs. When I don't know enough about something, I usually like to get well, what does this, what's usually customary for this? How is that being billed?
What if the dream was somebody that was doing that for you?
There's partial dream there, and there's partial, sure would like to know how we're doing this, because I do want to.
So how about they implement it for you, and every day they're sending you a quick screen recording of everything they did and how they did it and how they were thinking about it. And you can have like final edit or final say, I like this, I don't like this, change it to do this. Can you have it do this?
That might be a good thing.
Yeah.
Problem is, I just don't know what I have to offer on that front of what data to even give them other than my email accounts, which is pretty sad. And there's a lot of personal things. I almost feel like once it goes to a database, I kind of almost have to cull it myself the first time through just to say, well, these are tax planning clients. These are estate planning clients. And so those could all get the same stuff. But these people are registered investment advisors. These people are lawyers. These people are, so my database is, my email account, that's what's in it. Coding of who they are, how well we know them, what we know about them. Imagine AI could actually, if AI could crawl through all my emails, I could say, but it's pretty obvious this person's selling life insurance. This guy's doing investments. This guy's doing accounting and tax returns. Although some of them do both.
Do you think that if we had these 5 things all implemented, it would at least double your hourly rate?
If you do the hourly rate by the calculation you did, it should triple it or quadruple it.
Triple it or quadruple?
Will go up 5 or 10-fold in this last few years. So,
okay.
But nobody wants to slow down growth.
Yeah. Well, I'm enjoying exploring it because I appreciate that you're analytical, and I want to try and demonstrate for people watching, like how price gets to be a discussion.
Okay.
It's
important to understand, yeah.
Yeah,
So
not a destination.
when it comes to things other than your obvious known types of things. Like we know the car example, we could do the same thing for major appliances, for all things like that. That we know pricing. When it comes to these esoteric things, I guess I don't know enough about this to even comment on what would be a wonderful number and what would be a horrible number. I still don't know what the people that would do. Like if I go high level, it looks like there's virtually very little expenses. If I hire somebody to do database stuff, that's not a real big deal. But if I'm hiring people to do ads, that can get quite expensive. I know that if I use ClickFunnels and I have to have somebody do all the work around that, that can be fairly expensive. But I don't even know anything about the metrics of pricing. We've had one phone call with the go high level guy, and we haven't discussed pricing even. So I'm naive to answer these questions, to tell you the truth.
So where I go to in terms of price, when I think of price in terms of everything it's costing you not to do this. And if we're looking at everything it's costing you not to do this, then we can come to a relative fraction of what that costed. What do you think it's costing you to have bottlenecks, to have inconsistent marketing, to not have a CRM, to not have your marketing improved and not have an AI trained? What do you think it's costing you?
I imagine $400,000 or $500,000 a year.
$400,000 or $500,000 a year.
But that's not the important expense.
What do you mean?
Well, it's the stress that it puts on the human body, the stress that it puts on a relationship, being tense, being stressed. You know, those are because
there's a book by Travis Sago called Make 'em Beg to Buy. Highly recommend it. He evaluates cost in 5 factors: time, identity, money, energy, and reputation. And you're talking about the cost in terms of energy right now, and maybe even cost to your identity. And with inconsistent marketing, the cost to your reputation. So you have $400,000 to $500,000, but that's not the big cost. The cost of the other ones
you can bet your whole life around making more money, or how much more money can you make, but what's important? I get stressed often. Stress is almost entirely based upon the lack of communication, or that my business has as far as ease of operating, instead of it all having to be right here. That's a stressor that's ridiculous. I have no debt, there's nothing clamoring around. Oh, you need to get some money today. It's the desire to grow the business, the desire to accomplish things I'm doing, and knowing that I don't have the right systems. That it's 2025, and I'm probably less technological in my office than I was in 2005. That's a stressor.
I've really enjoyed the conversation, and it's been amazing to get to know you and your world.
You got a good persistent way of digging in and finding where it's at.
It's just I want to continue to emit love the whole time to the person, and then I just see that person as the light of the world. So that's what I've been looking at you as the whole time I'm in this context, and I try to do it more than just that. But the whole foundation of this is love another. And that's where the questions come from. It's like, okay, how can we get to the point where we can actually give you some real help? And so the questions are always kind of like, okay, how can we massage our way down to what can be offered so you have less stress, you have more time, and you have $400,000 to $500,000 more a year?
Yeah. And that's not the highest goal.
What is the highest goal?
I don't have a revenue goal on the active business, because my goal is to use the active business to create more liquid assets to throw off income, but to build the one that we turned into a 5-letter acronym down there.
Long-term mailbox money?
4-letter one. Okay. So long-term.
LT-MBM.
Yeah.
I mean, mailbox is technically one word, but
So,
LT-MBM.
Yeah. So that I have a goal for. Yes. I would like to see the LT-MBM to be, let's say, 100,000 in the next 12 months, 500,000 in the next 3 years, and above them, probably in the 2 million range at 5 years. And then decision will be, does that business get sold or just run? I think it can go a lot higher than that, but it's just a matter of how the integration works. But there are relationships that we have where there are hundreds and thousands of members who need the same services. We're talking about putting a base in place with some groups that are, only 5,000 or 10,000 total people, but the affiliations go to much, much, much bigger organizations.
2 minutes left.
Yep. Okay.
So your highest goal is long-term mailbox money.
That's part of the business that has a sellable feature. And yet now, whether or not the other business has a sellable feature,
Probably
and
not, but maybe.
because if it's just my tax consulting business, unless I figure out a way to merge it in with something with the medical associations and I can put it to a financial planning group, they would potentially buy it. But in the interim, I'm not necessarily building a sellable asset right there. Whereas the other is a sellable asset or just a long-term money showing up.
That's great. I mean, I love the distinction of a sellable asset.
It is nice to build a sellable asset.
It's incredible. Yeah. It's actually the only thing I put my focus into the first decade in my whole life is different because of it. And I use this process to find the asset that I could build that would be sellable. So in terms of, we have this pretty amazing opportunity to help you in terms of removing bottlenecks, improving consistency of communication, setting up the CRM, improving your marketing, and training the AI. Kevin, would you be open to scheduling another call to explore your dream for how that all could look and how it could all work down to the detail and the steps that your analytical mind loves to have?
Always interested in talking more.
Okay. We could just explore how that could look to be created to help you out.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.